everybody, and welcome to the LTH product briefing. I'm here today with Luke Suydam, the co-CEO of PageVault. Welcome, Luke.
Super excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Nikki.
Luke, PageVault is such an interesting solution, and it's undergone a little bit of a shift recently, which people should know about. Can you tell us a bit about the background of PageVault, when it was founded, and what's new with PageVault?
Definitely. So PageVault was founded about 10 years ago in 2014. And our founding team realized that people were living their lives more and more online, and that all of the content that was online, websites, social media posts, all of those types of things likely needed to be preserved in case it was ever needed later. And so they thought they could build the technology. And then they said to themselves, hey, what customer should we focus on? If we could do this, who would actually want that? And attorneys very quickly became an obvious answer for a couple of reasons. One, attorneys deal in disputes, and disputes are usually when things that have been said in the past become important. Two, attorneys are very exhaustive, needing to collect everything related to a case. And then finally, three, attorneys just have very high standards in terms of what authentication means and how they make sure that what they have is exactly what was on the internet. And so the team felt like there was a specific solution needed for attorneys, and they were happy to go build that. So did that for a number of years. Fast forward to about 2 years ago, which is when myself and my business partner, Alex, actually came in to become CEOs of PageVault. And since then, we've still been focused on the same core mission of making web captures as easy and defensible as possible for attorneys. But we've really changed a couple of things. And I'd say probably most importantly, we've really put a ton of resources into our product and into improving our product and making sure it's as fast and reliable as possible, but also just adding lots of new features and bells and whistles to make it able to capture really anything that you might come across on the internet. And so just, really investing as much as possible into that product. And then second, just really trying to get our name out there a bit. Back for the first 8 years of the company's life, we had not invested a ton in our marketing and our sales team to just really make sure that our brand was well known within the community. And so we've done a lot. And we always say that our mission is to try to be Google in the way that it's become a verb, right? We want attorneys to say, hey, go PageVault this, when they mean we want something captured. And so that's really where we've been focusing, is improving our brand recognition and just really improving the product so it's the best possible product out there for making web captures for the legal community.
That's great. It sounds like you're really modernizing the product and increasing the distribution of it. So, Luke, let's go PageVault it. I want to take a look. I'm sure everybody else does too.
Yeah, for sure. So let me share my screen here. I will start by showing you how to make a capture, and then I'll walk through some of our value propositions, like why folks actually use us to make a capture. And so what you're looking at right here is our proprietary web browser that we've built. And you'll see it looks and feels a lot like any web browser. You can come to a page. Here I'm on the Coca-Cola homepage. You can scroll down that page. There is a search bar up here where you can search things to do in New York City. And you can search, it'll take you to Google. You can come just about anywhere you'd come on the web using our browser. But what's different is once you get somewhere where you want to make a capture. So let's say there's a piece of evidence. Let's say my client is trying to claim that Coca-Cola infringed on their trademark or something like that. And I need to capture this page so that I can send a cease and desist or use it as evidence in a piece of litigation. You would come to the page that you want to capture, and then you come up here, and in the left-hand corner, you see this capture button. And once you click that, you see some options. First, there's a folders option. What folder do you want to save this in? And this corresponds to a storage system that we have that I will show you in a minute. But let's say you want to save it into the Coke folder. You can name it anything you want. You can put in a case matter ID if you would like, add some notes to the capture. And then all you do is press start. And once you press start, the first thing you're going to see happen is some blue bars are going to pop up on the side of the page and resize the page, which I will get back to that in a minute, why it's doing that. Next thing you'll see it scrolling down the page. We have an algorithm that automatically scrolls to the bottom of the page to make sure you capture everything. And then you will see a little green bar coming across the top that says capture complete. And it's as easy as that. Once you've done that, the capture is made. So I will show you that capture and what it looks like in a minute, but maybe just quickly turning to our value props and why folks use us. The first is all about legal admissibility and making sure you can authenticate the evidence that you're capturing. And I bring that up now because I want to talk a little bit about this browser. Like, why did we build our own kind of browser to make these captures in? This works pretty differently than a typical web browser. So a typical web browser lives locally on your computer. It connects to the internet. It's downloading that data data onto your local computer. And the problem with that is it can actually be manipulated. You can edit things in your browser, and so you can't prove that there hasn't been manipulations made, versus our browser actually opens nothing on your computer. It launches a version of the browser in our systems, in our cloud environment, which makes it unalterable. There's no way that you could alter anything. And so essentially your user, the person using the software on your side, has been removed from the chain of custody, which allows us to write affidavits. And so that's just one point to point out. Next, I'll show you the capture that I made.
Sorry to
Yeah,
pause,
please.
but when you say allows you to write affidavits, you and I have talked about this before, but for the audience, it allows you at Page Vault then to write an affidavit verifying the capture, right?
That's exactly right. So any capture, even if it's made by your employees using the software, we, Page Vault, can provide affidavits for that. Given there's no way that the capture could be altered, we can always verify the veracity or authenticate that capture. We probably write 5 to 10 affidavits a day on the captures that are made on the system.
That's great. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. So coming over here now, this is called the Page Vault portal. And so this is where the things that you've captured live, right? And so you can see this system that you saw when I was making the capture now lives here. And so I come into this Coke folder, and you can see I make this capture often for demos here. But once you're in here, you can scroll down, see all of your captures. And the way that most folks use our output is via PDF. And so you can come and download a PDF. And when you download this output, the first thing is called our metadata cover page. And back on this point of authenticating your evidence, this has all of the metadata associated with your capture. It has the URL that you captured, the time that it was loaded into the machine, the time that the capture was actually made, the IP address that was being used. And all of this is actually necessary under the federal rules of evidence to write an affidavit. You need to have this metadata. We also have a unique capture hash for each of our captures, where if anything here was changed, we would know and we would be able to say that this has been altered. And so this is essentially a stamp of approval on the very top of every single capture. And our clients will tell us that it's this that helps turn this from just a screen capture into a piece of evidence. As you scroll down, you'll see the second major reason why folks use us, which is just really high quality captures. And so which is a version of the website now on a printable PDF that looked exactly like it did when we saw it in the browser. And you can scroll down and it's a continuous flow. There's overlap between pages so that nothing's missing. And you can scroll all the way to the bottom. And I had pointed out when the capture was being made, those blue bars that popped up on the side, that is an algorithm that automatically resizes everything to fit nicely onto an 8.5 by 11 sheet of computer paper so that you can print this out and bring it into court. That's the second major reason folks use us, just really good looking captures. And then third, last thing I'll mention here is just time savings. And so I also pointed out during the capture how we automatically scroll down to the bottom of the page. And that's just to save attorneys time. If you were using a free tool like Snagit or something like that, or screen capture to capture this, you'd have to manually make a capture, scroll down, make a capture, scroll down, and a single page could take 5 or 6 different captures. And that's just one web page. It gets even harder and more difficult if you're dealing with an entire website or a very large social media profile. Things that we've heard from attorneys could take their paralegals or even their associates days, if not weeks, to make these captures, we can do in a single click. So you can get an entire web page, you can get an entire website, you can get an entire Instagram, Facebook, TikTok profile, all in one click. And so you get really good looking captures that don't take you a ton of time, that are legally admissible, defensible evidence. And that's a core of the product and why folks use us.
And I know also I saw in your folders, you do a similar capture for social media sites, which is a little bit more complex, I imagine, than just capturing what's on a website.
That's right. That's right. And so I can even give you an example of this. Let me share my screen once more. So yeah, in here I have some social media captures that I've made in the past. And like you said, Nikki, here's some Instagram examples. It is a lot more complex because not only do you have that kind of top page that you want to capture, this one, the one that has the grid of every single photo, but then every single one of those is a unique web URL where it has the pictures and all of the comments on that. And so we can do that all in one click as opposed to trying to do it one by one. And so you can come in very similarly to how you saw me make that Coca-Cola capture and instead go to Instagram, go to the page that you want to capture, and then you come in and the output is you get a folder filled with not only the grid, but every single post with with its own capture. And then once you're in here, there's lots of options. You can, let's say you only really cared about this single post, you can come in here and download that single post, and you get just like a really great version of that capture. Or if you want all of this, you can actually export and merge them all together into a single PDF where it goes in chronological order, where the first page is that grid page, and then every single page thereafter is every post with all of the comments. And we have a similar tool for both TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram, which I'm showing you here, as well as LinkedIn and Twitter, or X. And we also are able to get videos, which is really nice. So you don't only get kind of static views, but if there were videos in these posts, you'd get playable MP4 files. And so you're right, like the level of complexity steps up with social media, and we're there to be able to enable you to capture that as well.
That is great. Thank you so much for showing this. As a former litigator who used to do research online to gather evidence, I can't even imagine what a game changer this would be for firms looking to do that. Very impressive. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
For everyone watching, we will put a URL at the bottom of the screen to help you reach out to Luke and his colleagues. But it was great to see this. Luke, thank you so much for spending time with us and showing us a demo.
Yeah, thanks so much. Really appreciate it, Nikki.
And thanks everyone for watching. See you next time.